inventory that we can bring online over time. So to sum it up before I make a couple of energy comments, what I would tell investors is here's a company with a very good hedge, an excellent balance sheet, very under-levered. I mean, we believe we could add another $1 billion to the balance sheet and still stay investment grade. So what's management going to do with that opportunity, and how might that create shareholder value? We've got very, very good cash flows, got a proven track record at doing this well, got a very good position in oil properties and liquids. So let's talk about natural gas. Why are natural gas prices low now? I thought gas prices were high just 3 or 4 years ago, and they were. They were very high. Natural gas got up to above $10 an MCF out in the field, but the game has changed. It's dramatic. 4 years ago, if I had been talking to you, I would have said, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep pace with the demand for natural gas. And there has been a new development called shale gas. You may have heard about it. You may not. It's actually on TV a lot. It's been talked about on CNBC. It's being talked about by policymakers. And we now think, if you look at sort of the colors in red there, these are all the different shale plays. And to not bore you a lot, but that's where the gas was formed. When you went to school and they said the dinosaurs died and the plants and it all got cooked up, the natural gas, it was formed in shale, and then it leaked out over millions of years into sand, kind of like beach sand. And we used to drill in the beach sand and it would produce and flow. And now we're into the source rock. But new technologies, mainly horizontal drilling, now coming down and turning into this formation and staying in it, and fracturing technology, the ability to pump high-pressure liquids in and actually break the rock apart so that you can allow the gas to flow out, have unlocked tremendous reserves. And now we find ourselves at 2008 with about 200 years of supply. Now, I don't know if any of you saw Boone Pickens on CNBC yesterday, but Boone was talking about sort of the advantages of natural gas and the fact, I'll sum this up at the end, you've got a product that is clean, way cleaner than coal. You got a product that's now domestic, and you got a product that's abundant. It's a product that in the marketplace should be used more and more. And so I do think the demand for natural gas will rise over the long term, and I think the price will go up somewhat as well, but we're not going to see the prices that we saw in the future. If you look at projected gas production, you can see here it's projected to grow from 20.6 TCF in 2008 to 23.3 in 2035. Well, 27% of that growth is made up by shale gas. So ponder that for a minute. If we didn't have shale gas, where would natural gas be going? Natural gas would be flat to down. So it really has changed the energy game as it relates to natural gas. If you look at projected energy use on EIA, and look, I'm a big believer that we need it all. We need nuclear, we need gas, we need some level of base coal, we need renewables. But the truth is, in all this, is that even if you double the use of renewables, you can see that 78% of our needs are still going to come from traditional hydrocarbons. And with natural gas being the cleanest of those hydrocarbons, I think it's poised to really do well as we move forward in the future. When you think about where is natural gas used, 23% residential, 15% commercial. Power generation is the big growth market for natural gas, 29% industrial. And then finally, another big opportunity, and I think I may be going long, Justin is standing up here, but I think I'm on my second to the last slide. Natural gas vehicles, is the time right? This has been something that Boone Pickens has pushed big time. Again, you're looking at something that's 30% cleaner than regular gasoline. You're looking at something that is a technology that's ready here and now. And finally, Justin, some of these points that I mentioned, you got a product that's 97% domestic, 50% cleaner than coal, 30% cleaner than gasoline. And if you look at the cost basis right now for natural gas as it relates to oil, oil's at $80 a barrel. The equivalent price of natural gas is $24. So it competes extremely well. And then I talk about the abundance over there. Well, let me stop there and turn it back over to Justin. I've enjoyed being with you, and I guess we'll have a short Q&A.
Yeah, we've got some time for a few questions. I've prompted Mr. McManus that we've done an outstanding job of strengthening the quality of our Q&A, so don't let me down. With that, teacher, anybody have a good question?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I think a lot of them involve Chesapeake Energy. What are the, I guess, the pros and cons of fracturing? Obviously, that's new technology. I think they were trying to focus a lot of the bad stuff with fracturing.
Well, that article had that particular Aubrey McClendon was featured at Chesapeake as a CEO, and of course I know Aubrey McClendon, and I watched that particular segment. Let me tell you what I think about hydraulic fracturing. We've actually been doing it for over 60 years. It's a very safe process, but things can happen. You can have things at the surface that happen. You can have when the frac fluid comes back up, if the pit's not properly lined, you can have contamination. I don't think we're going to have a slowdown because of hydraulic fracturing. It is a big issue with environmental groups. I think it is a proven technology. Industry's got to be vigilant at all times to ensure safety. And there have been cases where you might have, we put cement behind the casing. The water aquifers are only at about the first 1,000 feet. So we're drilling all the way down, in many cases, 8,000, 9,000 feet. There's never been a proven case of contamination from hydraulic fracturing. However, as I pointed out, that doesn't mean that things can't go wrong at the surface. Doesn't mean you can't have some type of wellbore design that fails that then causes contamination. And so it's a hot issue. I hope it doesn't slow down the development of natural gas, but I'm glad you pointed it out. And we're not drilling. Fortunately, Energen is not in the Marcellus Shale, which is sort of, if you know what this gentleman's talking about, up in New York and Pennsylvania. Folks in New York and Pennsylvania are not as friendly necessarily to the industry as folks in Texas and New Mexico historically have been. So, you know, are there problems? Are there cases where you can have, yes, you can. Are they minute? It's my belief that they are. It's my belief that the practice is very, very safe when properly followed. Now, to give you an example, I think one of the comments that Justin wanted me to make was on the deepwater offshore situation. We don't do anything offshore for good reason. We thought that was only a big boys game, and I think we're finding out it might not even be a big boys game if you have something go wrong. We had a company like BP just about go down. Our guys studied that situation, and I'll kind of give you the inside poop. That was preventable, absolutely preventable. That was a combination of compounding human errors, and somebody should have stopped it at some point, and you just had a number of mechanisms break down in the human chain. And so the tragedy of all that is it was a very preventable situation, in our opinion. Other questions?
Yep, time for one more.
Yes, sir.
With the devaluation of the dollar, we've seen a big move in commodity prices. How do you see natural gas being affected?
Great question. It doesn't tend to affect it as much because the oil market is worldwide. Okay? And one of the reasons that I'm pretty bullish on oil right now is I think our currency may continue to head in that direction. And so when you think about inflation risk and devaluation of the dollar, those two are going to push oil prices up. The other reason that I like oil is the supply-demand dynamics are better. Supply is just not as plentiful in oil. We make about 85 million barrels a day worldwide. It's very difficult to get above that level, and so when you see China and India coming back on economically, it's going to drive oil prices north. Many people predicting oil prices could hit $100 a barrel next year. Now, as it relates to natural gas is a domestic commodity, so it's going to be driven by domestic factors only, and right now we're in a supply bubble for natural gas with all this shale gas. So there is a huge disconnect. The price of oil and gas used to be within 6 BTU increments. So, for example, if natural gas, as I mentioned earlier, was trading at $4, the proper price for oil is $24. Now, what you could say, times 6, so what you could say is, gosh, if oil is at $80 a barrel, why isn't natural gas trading at $15, $16? Because it is a domestic commodity, not a worldwide commodity. There are some people even believing that we may export gas out of the country, liquefied natural gas, when we were talking about importing a good bit of gas just a few years ago. So I don't really expect that connection to close. I expect there to continue to be a disconnect. So I'm not sure gas will follow the commodity spike that you've seen in gold in particular, oil in particular. Those tend to be the top two inflation hedge commodities, not that they don't all benefit.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
James, that was a very educational presentation, and the growth of your company is impressive to say the least, and we're glad that through that growth that Energen continues to call Birmingham home, and we hope that does not change as the next 15 years will hopefully be as prosperous as the previous 15. And we thank your company's support of our club, shown by the membership up here at the head table. We really appreciate that, and we have made a donation in your honor. This certificate recognizes a donation has been made in your honor to our Ready to Read program, which has placed a full library in every second grade classroom in the Birmingham City School System, as well as a copy of our most recent annual report. So thank you again. We appreciate it. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving break wherever your travels may take you. For those heading west 45 miles this afternoon, be safe and have fun. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving break. Remember to check our website. Our communications team has done a great job kind of retooling the message board to help everyone stay up to date with everything that's going on. So thanks everybody again, and everyone have a wonderful weekend.